welcome back. I hope you all had a great day yesterday working through your slides. We're going to continue working on chapter 14 today. We're going to be working on lesson 2. So if you want to go ahead and get out your book, we're going to start on page 839. So if you want to pause the video, get out your book, page 839. All right, hopefully everybody has their book open to page 839 now. Like we talked about yesterday, there is a lot of vocabulary that goes along with this chapter. So yesterday we talked about 4 different vocabulary words. Those words were ray, endpoint, vertex, and angle. Remember we said that a ray is an arrow with an end point on the end. So this whole thing is our ray. This is an end point that would have a ray coming out of it. A vertex is this end point that our angle shares. And then an angle is 2 rays that share the same endpoint, and we show angles by putting this little line in. So we have a ray, an endpoint, a vertex, and an angle. We also talked about how there are 3 different kinds of angles. Yesterday they didn't use their names. We talked about their names on Monday. Yesterday they said we have an angle that's exactly 90 degrees. We have one that is bigger than 90 and one that is smaller than 90. Okay. So we have our 3 types of angles. Our first type of angle that we talked about was an acute angle. We said acute angles are angles that are less than 90 degrees. Remember, I also said they're a cute little angle. They're small, they're tiny. They look like the slice of a pizza or a piece of a pie. They are smaller than 90 degrees. The second angle that we talked about is a right angle. Right angles are exactly 90 degrees. They look like L's, and instead of putting the little curve like we do in most angles, in right angles we put like a little square. This shows that we are talking about an exact 90-degree angle or a right angle. You see right angles in squares and rectangles. You'll see them on as you're going up the stairs. Your stair steps are normally in a 90-degree angle. So there's lots of things that are 90 degrees. The last one that we talked about is our big angles, and those are our obtuse angles. Obtuse angles are angles that are bigger than 90 degrees. So they're going to be angles that whenever we measure them are going to be 100 degrees, 200 degrees, really big angles. And if you think back to the song that you listened to yesterday as part of the slides, it talks about how obtuse angles look like the horns on a moose. They are bigger than 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and show these to you guys for a second. If you want to, you can go ahead and jot them down on a piece of paper, and then it might be helpful to hold on to that piece of paper for the rest of the chapter, and you can keep adding on your vocabulary words because they're going to keep coming around. They're not just a one-time use. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our new vocabulary words for lesson 2. We have 4 new ones on our first page. They're the 4 highlighted words. The first one that we have is polygon. And if you look in your book, it says a polygon is a 2-dimensional figure, which means that it's flat, and it has 3 or more sides. So while I write down the definition, I want you to think. Can you think of any shapes that have 3 or more sides? You do that while I write down the definition. All right, so while I was writing down the definition, I was wondering, did you think of any examples of polygons? If you thought of things like triangles, squares, rectangles, hexagons, you would be right. Those are all polygons. They're all flat, 2-dimensional figures with 3 or more sides. The next word that we're going to talk about is the word attributes, and the word attribute means characteristic. So it's going to be things that we can tell someone that's going to help us describe that shape. So for describing the attributes of a triangle, we could say it has 3 sides, it has 3 corners, it has 3 angles like we talked about yesterday. All of those things are characteristics or attributes for a triangle. The next word that we're going to talk about is the word pentagon. Pentagon is a type of shape. Penta means 5. So our pentagons are going to have 5 sides and 5 angles. Think of like on a soccer ball, all the shapes on a soccer ball are pentagons. That's what makes up the outer covering of your soccer ball, is tiny little pentagons, 5-sided shapes that have 5 angles. Okay, the last word that we're going to talk about is an octagon. An octagon is also a type of shape. Octagons are shapes that have 8 sides and 8 angles. Octa means 8. So if you think of like an octopus has 8 legs. So shapes that are octagons are going to have 8 sides and 8 angles. If you think of a stop sign also is an octagon because it has 8 sides and 8 angles. All right, since these are new vocabulary words, I'm going to go ahead and
there's
hold
also
these up
many
here for
other
a second
shapes
for you.
in this
If
lesson
you want to
that
write
they're
them
going to
down
talk
on
to
the
you
same
about.
piece of paper
The
that
other
you
shapes
wrote down
are
your
triangles,
vocabulary words
which are
for chapter
3 sides and
or
3
for lesson
angles.
1.
They are
That way they're all in the
quadrilaterals,
same
which if
spot.
you remember from Monday,
So I'm going to hold it here for a few
means
seconds. Go ahead and write these down now.
4. So they're going to have 4 sides and 4 angles, similar to a square and a rectangle and a rhombus or a trapezoid. And then they move on to pentagons, which are 5 sides and 5 angles. Hexagons, which are 6 sides and 6 angles because hexa means 6. And octagons because they are 8 sides and 8 angles. Hopefully this video helps you guys out. Good luck on the rest of your slides and I'll see you tomorrow.